What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Pod Scum. This right here, as you all know, is the podcast where we dive into it. That's right, the deep, dark, murky waters with a plethora of legendary guests. I am, of course, your host, your bastard of ceremonies, the number one scumbag, Rex Ruger, REXXX. You might also know me as the King of Sleaze, a.k.a. the Hair Metal High Priest, and most importantly, a.k.a. One Diamond David Lee Roth Jr. That's right. You are looking at the son of glam, the front man for the band. Just smoked a lot of grams. I got a million fans. I'm your ice cream man, Mr. Wop Babaloo Boppa Wop Bam Bam Shazam. Hot damn. Feeling good? Never a single shred of doubt that I'm looking good. So's my audience, always. And for me, only one thing makes it all possible. Coming to you from the Lavender Lounge of Love, and joined as always by the great Keith Hernandez puppet, bringing you the No Frills podcast. You don't get no frills, but you get rock star size thrills, and that's looking at us, baby. High five, Keith. No high fives out of Keith, but who cares? Tonight we got a great episode for you, and I'm fucking excited, man. Guy's a rock star, man. Guy's a rock star. Such a rock star, I'm going to give myself a second look tonight. I don't do that often, but here to my guest, man. I am very excited to have this fella. And I might add, tonight's episode might be brought to you by a little bit of THC cake pens. These things really fucking slap. Slap you upside the fucking head. And of course, it's the No Frills podcast because you see me inviting my guests. I don't know what I'm doing over here, folks. I'm 50 years old, but our guest is here. So enough. Let's chop it up with him on Pod Scum. I'm fucking excited, man. Fucking really excited. Jason, hey, buddy. What's up?
Howdy.
Man, sometimes, man, this is, of course, Jason BITTNER, and I'm going to get into the bands in a minute, but one I'm so excited to talk to you about, man, and I just made the correlation, and I love when you connect the dots in life, man, and something leads back to something. I recently, make a long story short, I started out as like a metal kid, but then I went back and discovered a lot of hardcore afterwards. Just made the correlation of you and Stigmata.
Wow.
Yeah.
Almost 30 years of my life.
Yeah, it just boggles my mind because I worked backwards. As I said, I was into metal first and then really discovered hardcore in my later teens and 20s. I'm 50 years old now. So I worked backwards and rediscovered a lot of it. And recently discovered Stigmata and just had Bob Riley on, actually.
Really?
Oh, man, I'm telling you, man, that is some great. And sometimes I'll think, God damn, how did I miss the boat on a band like this, man? What fucking rock was I under?
A lot of people missed the boat on that band, sadly. I mean, we got lost in the shuffle in the mid '90s. Really, what I came to find out later, once I was on Century and Media Records, when I was, with Shadows Fall, is that back in the '90s they wanted to sign Stigmata, but it was a toss up between Stigmata or Marauder, and they felt that time that Stigmata was too fragmented because they thought our guitar player was going to move away and go tattoo in New York, which he did eventually, but that was only because we didn't get signed. So they're like, well, we thought the better opportunity was to kick Marauder. They kind of imploded after that first record. So it's just kind of weird the way things turn about. At that point, we had done a lot of showcases for labels and stuff, and it just wasn't, we weren't getting out of the Eastern Seaboard area. So, we kind of just, we split up at that point. I went on, I did Crisis in the late '90s. Eventually Stigmata got back together. We did another couple records and, but when we got back together the next time, we did a few European tours, but it was pretty much just for the fun aspect of it. We knew at that point, we weren't gonna, be going around the world all the time like we all wanted to. And, fortunately for me, I got in Shadows Fall. So I was able to do that for the next 20 years.
Well, and certainly I would be remiss, you're in so many interesting and great projects that I love. We just addressed Stigmata. Maybe if I just go through them all, talk about the time that the stint that you did with the guys in Toxic. I've had a couple of them on here as well. Love that band.
I played in Toxic from, well, really, it was only 2013 to 14. We started talking in 2012 when Shadows Fall knew we were going to be going on hiatus. We played a show in Syracuse, and Josh and Mikey came out to the show to discuss if I wanted to work with the band. And Toxic was one of my favorite bands growing up. I liked a lot of underground bands more so than the mainstream bands.
Yeah, me too.
So once Shadows Fall went on hiatus, I started working with those guys, and we did a few small European tours and some festivals, and we started recording a record. Some of those songs surfaced on their box set that they put out a couple of years ago. I don't remember the name of the box set, but I know some of my, maybe I think 5 of my songs are on there. It was for the record, just never saw the light of day. And then, Josh changed members, and then they started recording the stuff that that they've been doing now. So, it's cool. When I left that band specifically just because they weren't working the way I needed to work. I've been lucky enough to be a professional musician now for the last 2 decades of my life, but I still need to be on the road a amount of time during the year in order to pay my bills. And it just was not happening with that band. It just was not. It was great to play. It was great musically and stuff, and the guys were great, but there was no room financially for growth, and I just knew that it wasn't going to be the be all end all, sadly. But ironically, just when that was kind of going off the tracks is when lo and behold, the band on my shirt, Kelly Smith, called me, and I joined Flat shortly after that.
And what do you call about your time with Flats? I've had a couple of the fellas from that band on as well. I absolutely love them, man. A criminally underrated thrash band, in my opinion. They always have been.
I have not one bad word to say about anybody in that band or who's been in that band. I love that band to death. I still love that band. I'm still very close to everybody in the band that I played with and all the other guys that I haven't played with. I mean, really close to Jason Ward, and we were never even in the band together. Flotsam was always one of my favorite bands. I've known Kelly and Mike and AK since 1987. So
great guys too. Great guys.
I really, to be honest with you, and I've said this before in interviews, I would have never left Flotsam for Overkill if they were at the same level that Overkill was at. I would have never left. I loved playing in that band, but just at that point, again, it's the same thing. We hit a brick wall. There was only so much we could do with touring, and only so much financially that could come in. Sometimes when opportunity knocks, you just got to answer the call. And that's literally what happened. When Blitz called me in 2017, he's like, I know you love your band. I'm like, yeah, but I love Overkill too. And, fucking this business. I wanted to stay.
Well, and that's not.
There was just no way I could have feasibly done both schedules. And even when I discussed that with Dee Dee, no, we kind of want you to be our drummer. I'm like, all right.
And let's also not forget that Flotsam and Jetsam, though, did have Jason Newsted, who left for a slightly bigger gig as well. You don't pass up a gig like Metallica. I mean, that's kind of a gig you got to take.
True. We don't talk about the other Jason and Flotsam that much, though, to be quite honest with you. I've heard some stories. I toured with the guy on 2003 on Ozfest, and I don't have anything. I'm sorry. I don't want to. I'm not gonna say anything bad. I'm just gonna say that he was not very cordial to me. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm gonna leave it there. Fair enough. It was one of those things where there was things that were done on that tour where some of us were going, you're not in Metallica anymore, right?
Yeah.
But whatever.
How about the times when you've played pinch hitter, so to speak, and substituted for Charlie? How do you find the Anthrax guys? I love the fact that that we're tooting the horn for our East Coast thrash, because the Bay Area does get a lot of the limelight, man. But we've got great thrash bands out here. I'm an upstate New York guy too. I'm an upstate New Yorker.
It does, but the Bay Area always gets talked about way more than the East Coast does.
Yeah. And it's a shame because Overkill, in my opinion, have been easily, especially if you look back just on the whole discography, one of the most consistent bands ever in the genre. I mean, consistently great albums. I mean, there doesn't seem to be a hiccup anywhere along the way. And all those other big four bands, have had albums that were, panned or, got a lot of criticism. Overkill, they've all been great.
Hey, we just put out a record the same day as the biggest big four band.
I know. And the Overkill album Scorched is fucking amazing. I just listened to it.
The Overkill album Scorched is their album. Sorry, I said it.
It does. It's
but you know what?
Theirs
sold a lot more than ours did.
Yeah, maybe a few more copies, but I mean, that doesn't mean anything. Let's not take that into account solely.
No. I'm just busting balls. I think it's funny. A lot of people go, you guys are pretty ballsy releasing a record the same day as Metallica. I'm like, I don't think we really knew that it was going to be the same day that they were putting theirs out. Just a coincidence, but whatever. It was nice to be number 2 for a couple weeks.
Yeah, but some of the tracks that stand out, I really like the Surge. I really like the Surgeon song.
Hold on. Let's not digress because let's go back to your question. Your question was how I feel about playing with Anthrax and all that.
Oh yes, that's right. Yeah, we got sidetracked.
Pinch hitting for Charlie. Now, Charlie's one of my best friends, hands down. He's one of my favorite drummers. He always has been. Him and Dave Lombardo, the two guys that made me as a thrash drummer. But Charlie, I've always referred to Charlie as kind of like my big brother. We have a lot of things in common. And we've always been close. And the first time he asked me to fill in was 2006 when he was having his baby, when Mia was, just being born, which was, I did 2 shows on the Among the Living reunion tour, which was in 2005. 6. And then I did another few shows with them in 2008 when Charlie's mom passed. I had to go to South America with the guys, and I did 3 shows down there with them.
Yeah.
And the most time I've been behind the kit was 2012 because I did the whole entire Mayhem tour, which was the whole summer, which was 6 weeks, and then I did another 3 weeks with them through the States and Canada. So 2012 I was in Anthrax for 3 months over the course of the year.
Yeah.
It's great. I love that band. They're all family. They consider me family. I'm in the opening video for their 40th anniversary tour, which is cool with all the people that they show in it. Joey lives an hour and 45 minutes up the street from me in Syracuse, and I'm in, Niskayuna. So I love those guys, man. Frankie and I share GI problems with each other, and things like that. It's all good, and I'm very happy and supportive for Charlie for what he's doing right now too, because I know he's been taking shit from people about the Pantera gig, and I just joke around with him. I'm like, yeah, now you know how I feel when I was filling in for you.
Yeah. It's funny you bring that up because I was just discussing. I was just discussing that Pantera reunion getting. Yeah, I was just discussing that Pantera reunion getting shit on too with a previous guest, and I hate that because I think it's just so great that those Pantera songs are getting passed on to next generations, and they're able to see them performed live in some way. What it comes down to, and I'm not going to be one of those guys say, well, because I knew Diamond Vinny, but I knew Diamond Vinny. What it is, it's a lot of people that don't know these guys, who didn't know these guys, who just talk shit. Oh, Diamond Vinny they wouldn't want this. Right.
I beg to differ with that. I think that the two of them are looking down, and they're quite happy with what's going on.
Yeah. And especially considering the two guys that are filling those positions, because they're not just hired guns, I mean, they're brothers to those guys themselves. Yeah.
It's one of the greatest guitar players and one of the greatest drummers to ever play rock and metal. So, give me a break.
Yeah. Speaking of greats that have played metal, though, early on in your life, do you remember what got you to want to pick up drumsticks, or the first drummer or drumming that really resonated with you?
Really, Kiss is what made me want to be in a band, but I didn't want to be Peter Criss. I wanted to be Gene Simmons. So that was the 5, 6 years old. That's the first thing that made me go, I want to play music.
Yeah.
The first drummer that I can tell you that I remember that stuck out to me was Keith Moon, because my dad listened to The Who a lot, and I liked Won't Get Fooled Again. I don't know why I liked the song as a kid, but the drums were cool at the end, and I just gravitated to Keith Moon. And my mom listened to a lot of 60s stuff, so I heard Jimi Hendrix Experience and Cream through her record collection. So really the first three guys I knew about were Keith Moon, Mitch Mitchell, and Ginger Baker. So Baker really is my first double bass influence.
Yeah.
So the first double bass song I ever learned was The End of Sunshine of Your Love, which is very slow double bass.
Yeah. Yeah. And he was a special talent, but a very unpredictable, I guess, would be the kindest word probably to use for him.
You could just say it. He was a prick.
Yeah. I've had his son on, Kofi, and he said the same thing.
Kofi just played in Albany a couple weeks ago, and I wasn't home because we were at Milwaukee Metal Fest. I was like, God damn it!
Nice guy, though. Nice guy.
Yeah. No,
and certainly lots of crazy stories about his father.
Well, I know he kind of got the short end of the stick from his father too for a number of years. So
he did. Sadly, he did. So, so are you still a New York guy? Are you still kicking around New York State?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm still in Niskuna.
Will you always call it home, or are you one of the people that will eventually get the hell out of here because of long winters and high state tax, whatever the hell people are leaving New York State for?
Well, both of those things actually do suck, and my wife and I have talked about it because all my family is down south now. Like my brother's in Charlotte, my sister's in Charleston, dad and my stepmother in Hilton Head. And we've talked about potentially maybe later on down the road, like Myrtle Beach, or maybe going back to Florida. We had a condo in Florida in Deerfield Beach for a while, like in the mid 2000s for a little while, but it was just a place to kind of escape to. But it ended up being so much work. I'd go down there for like a week of vacation, and I'd be working on the place for 4 days. So it wasn't even like vacation.
Not a vacation.
And I was like, why I get to go home? Why do I leave the house? Well, I always got to do a bunch of shit to come down here to do more shit.
It's supposed to be a vacation.
But we've talked about potentially getting a place down there later on, but we've never discussed totally leaving New York State. I mean, we're lucky at this point, our home's paid for, things are good. So it's like, the taxes suck, and it's cold, but if we can just find a place to go to for, the winter months, and when we just might end up being snow buddies. I mean, we like our home, but you never know. If it gets, I'm saying this at 53, at 65, 70, like my dad's, he finally left and went down. I might be telling you something different. No, fuck this cold. I want to get the hell out of here.
Yeah, that cold's going to make everything ache.
I can tell you, Mark, that I dislike the winter more and more every year.
Me too. Yeah, absolutely. I just turned 50 this year, and I am starting to feel more aches and pains and stuff. And I work in healthcare. I'm a nurse. That's my day job. So, so I'm on my feet a lot too. But I'm starting to feel it more at the end of a workday as the years go on.
Yep.
And now for you, doing something as physical as drumming, and since we're on that topic, as you get older, has the dynamic of drumming changed for you because it is so physical?
Yes and no. I say that with a grain of salt because I'm going to tell you, for most of my career, I've played in pain.
Yeah.
There's always been something that I've been, quote unquote, playing through, whether or not it's the low back or the arm or the wrist or the neck or the hand or whatever the fuck it is on whatever tour. I don't think I've never had a tour that's been pain-free, that I haven't been looking for massage therapists or whatever. It's part of the job. It's repetitive strain. We're athletes. We play an obsessive amount of nights on tour in a row. Overkill goes and plays 18 shows in 20 days. There's 2 fucking days off.
Yeah.
That's nothing.
Yeah.
At 210 BPMs for 90 minutes straight, 10 shows in a row every night, and kill it at 53. Mark, I do what I have to do to maintain what I do. I treat myself just like an athlete. I try to eat well. I work out when I'm home. Stay in the best shape as possible. I do a lot of yoga, and like I say, massage, acupuncture, chiropractic, all of it to keep my shit moving the way it's supposed to. Now, I'm no worse off than I was 20 years ago as far as pain levels. There's some tours where I'm dying depending on, Dave Linsk is calling me right now. Can't talk to you right now. Wonder what he wants.
Wow, that's nice. That's nice. That's going to be a feather in my cap, man. That my little old podcast took precedent over Dave Linsk. It's going to make me feel good for the rest of the week.
Hold on, let me just text him though and tell him I'll call him when I'm done.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm 50 years old. I don't edit anything. It all unfolds in real time, man. I'm too old for editing. Yeah, you text away, man, and I'll think of all these interesting bullet points that I had and stuff I want to ask you about, and And as you're texting, I certainly want to say that the Scorched album is kudos to you, man. A fantastic drum sound. I want to say, man, that one of the songs, The Surgeon, when I was listening to that song, it's going to be overkill, man, when you open it up with just that fucking hard, loud, dense sounding fucking cymbal. I know what I'm going into right there. That just stuck out to me. But one thing that sounds very different to me is
my
the song
favorite song on the album.
Huh?
So The Surge is my favorite song on the album, and you're about to mention my second favorite song on the album.
Fever.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Great
one
song.
of those songs. It's one of those songs that where I don't quite know, in being an Overkill fan for as long as I have, if I've ever heard them quite as you would say in your profession, swing that way. But I love it.
It's way outside the box for Overkill. That's one of the reasons why I like it. It's so fucking heavy and low and fucking. It's very different for Overkill.
Yeah, very
and
different.
I play a bunch of percussion in the beginning of it. That's really cool. So.
Now, do you feel like, amazing percussion at the beginning of it, but what's the dynamic that you feel like, and this is not to impugn any of Overkill's past drummers, but what's the layer that you feel like you bring that's maybe changed or tweaked their sound on the 2 albums you've been on?
I have to watch my words with what I I'm going to tell you, I bring...
Come on, man. We've already ran down Jason Newsted.
I bring completeness and I bring consistency to the band. Let's leave it at that.
Yeah.
How about that? Every night that I step on that stage, you're going to get the same fucking thing night after night. You're not going to get tempos that go up and down. One song's here one night, one song's here the next night. You're not going to get that from me.
Right.
You're going to get someone... If you mess up on stage... Don't worry. Turn around. I'm behind you. I got your back.
Okay. Okay.
I rein the band in. That's my job.
and essentially it is, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's the job of the drummer to keep everybody in line. I mean, Overkill's had a succession of great players, and everybody who's been in this band prior to me, aside from Rat, I can call right fucking now. Everybody's in my phone, and it's not because I don't like Rat. I just don't know Rat. I never met him back in the day. I met Timmy in 1993, for Christ's sakes. That's how I'm so close to the Overkill guys, because I was really close with Tim, and I'd always just show up and be helping him at soundcheck and stuff. So
and now, what's the creative process like when Overkill gets together to make a new album? I think a lot of people would be interested in that. I noticed when I'm listening to it on my Apple Music app, I guess is what you would call it. I noticed that the song credits are usually Bobby, Blitz, and Dee Dee. How much of the creative process is collaborative? How much idea sharing is there?
Well, that depends, because you have to, I'll tell you how generally the Overkill song songwriting process goes. But then I'll explain Scorched, because Scorched did not fall under those pretenses because of COVID.
Okay.
Generally, I'm trying not to slouch in my seat here, but I've been in the studio all freaking day and I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
I've been in the studio all day to play nothing. just get tones together to start recording tomorrow. So anyways, so newsflash, you got me on day one of the new Shadows Fall recording.
Awesome. And that would have been a question on down the line that I couldn't.
We'll come back to it.
Okay. Yes. Yeah, we will. We will.
Generally, Dee sends us rough song idea demos that he'll map out at his studio. He'll play scratch guitar, bass, some finger drum machine on it, tap, 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 just to give me an idea of what kind of beat he hears there. He'll send us the demos. Dave and I will kind of pick through them a little bit and maybe write back what we don't like or we like, or what we maybe change this or whatever. And we'll start doing things electronically. And then once we get those kind of demos together, then I'll start writing actual drum parts to the thing instead of the drum machine. And then I'll start recording my stuff at home and sending it to Dee. What do you think of this? What do you think of this? And then we, do it more electronically, and we kind of get the skeletons of the songs together. And then we take a week and we go to New Jersey and we get in a room and we spend 8 hours a day for a week and we do pre-production and we play through the songs and we try different tempos and we try different things. Are we sure we want to make it like this? And we put the time into it to do all those little nuances. That didn't happen with this album. We just couldn't do it. Dave lives in Florida. Yes, I could once they lifted travel restrictions, yes, I could have drove to Jersey. Yeah, we could have put masks on and got in the room, but it still would only been 4 of us. The one guy's still in Florida.
Right.
He couldn't get to us.
Yeah.
So it left us with, here's the rough demos. So what we started doing was Dee and I just started working more on the demos. Give me the demos. I'd start working out drum parts, send it back to him. We'd send it over to Dave. What do you think? Well, I don't know. We can't get in the room. Do we think this tempo's all right? Okay, well, so what we did was we just figured that we had to start get going on this record. So I went in and I did the drums in the end of 2020. And I went to my friend's studio, and even though we were both, negative, we still wore masks. He was in the control room. I was out in the live room. We still kept our distance between each other, but that's all we could do. So we laid the drums down, but what we did was we took more time with that, and there'd be songs where Dee would like, all right, well, do another pass tomorrow and put it 3 BPMs faster. So I'd go in and track the song again, 3 BPMs faster. So we would end up with all these drum takes of certain songs, but some songs might have 4 different tempos because they wanted to have complete drums in case we want to change the tempo. And instead of trying to do it, by elastic audio or stuff, we had all our ducks in a row. So that's what I did. I went and recorded the drums. Dave started doing guitars in Florida by himself, and those guys just started, talking via Zoom and on the phone and stuff. And then, next thing you know, we had a record. But it wasn't the way we planned on doing it.
Right.
But I got to tell you, I'm really happy with the way it came out.
Amazing.
I mean, like, I'm in the studio with Zeus right now because he's doing the Shadows Fall record, and we were talking about it. And I'm like, he's like, yeah, but I like the one that I did with you guys better. I'm like, of course you do, because you did it with us. You didn't do this one with us.
Of course he's going to be a little biased. I like the
Wings of War, but I like this album better. I do like Scorched better. I like Scorched better because I feel that for me, and I know I'm just putting it making about me right now, but I do feel that I feel more comfortable playing in the band and on this album. And I think that my style comes out more on this album than it did with the Wings of War.
Yeah. And I would have to say that a big part of any tweaks or changes to Overkill sound, I think, would be brought about, by like your playing. I've never heard them do anything like Fever, and and I've been a fan, going all the way back to the beginning. I mean, God, they're 20 plus albums into the game now, right?
Album 20.
20. Oh, Jesus, man. Holy shit, man. Who's been more? I can't even think of another thrash band. And again, not to impugn any of the great thrash bands that are out there, but anybody that's been that consistent and prolific. That's quite a catalog.
There's one band that they're going after. If you're wondering if they're chasing something, they are.
Okay.
Motorhead. They're chasing Motorhead.
Yeah.
It's Dee Dee's goal to put more albums out than Motorhead. So that means that we have at least another 2 or 3, I think it is. Because I think Motorhead has like 23 albums or something like that.
Okay. And that's certainly
Dee Dee's goal is to beat Motorhead.
Well, I don't see any problem. I mean, it seems like the Overkill machine is still running top notch.
It's running.
I mean, right? You guys aren't going anywhere anytime soon. Fucking Blitz, and you guys aren't going anywhere. You'll supersede that easily.
In reality, that's only 6 years, so it definitely could be done.
Yeah, it's very, very attainable. Now, I would be remiss if I didn't somehow remember. And yes, I did smoke some wacky weed a little while ago, so I do not want to fucking forget, man. I want to come back to the Shadows Fall.
I'm getting there.
yeah. I want to get back to the Shadows Fall.
My hotel room, they told me it was a non-smoking room. I'm like, this is fucking Massachusetts where you can buy weed on every block, and I can't smoke in my hotel. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Did you ever think you'd see like a world where it would be decriminalized to this point?
Dude, Mark, I can walk at this point. They opened the first recreational dispensary in New York in my neighborhood, literally fucking 8-minute walk from my house. If you told me when I was 15 years old that eventually I'd be able to walk to Union Street, go to McDonald's, and then go buy some, I'd tell you were nuts.
Yeah. And all legally too, you know?
Right. And you know what's funny? About that? I haven't gone to this dispensary not once yet. You know why? Because I can still call my regular old dealer before it was legal here and get it for fucking half of what it costs in the fucking dispensary.
Exactly. I'm still old school like that too. And I will say that I do employ the pen once in a while, but I am still mostly an analog smoker in a digital world. I would rather have green bud rather than not being so sure what these are. They're nice because I can do my podcast inside and take a few pulls and not have my wife crucify me.
To be honest with you, dude, I don't even think I get high when I vape.
Like, I'm not so sure I do either.
Yeah. Anyways.
It's kind of the same thing with energy drinks. I drink one in the morning at work, but I'm not even sure there's any goddamn energy in there. You know, I don't know. I have mornings at work where I don't feel it. I certainly don't fucking feel it. But I got to get the Shadows Fall. What's going on? I had to cue in on that. People could kill me in the comment section if I didn't ask. You know, Shadows Fall has been. When did the last Shadows Fall album come out? How long's it been? It's been a minute, right?
It's been a long minute. Hold on, let me tell you.
A long minute.
I have to go consult it because I don't remember the actual year. I want to say it's 2012. Hold on,
12.
Let me look.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure that it's 12 as well.
Yeah, 12. Fire from the Sky, 2012. One of our best records, and totally just fell under the radar. But at that point, the music industry was changing. Everything was changing. John got the Anthrax gig. You know, the rest is history. So here we are, 11 years later, making some new music. Now I can't tell you if we're making an album or not, and not because I can't tell you, but I can't tell you because I don't know what we're doing. I don't know. All I know is we have 5 complete songs and 2 skeletons, and we're going to go start recording the 5 complete songs tomorrow. That's what we're going to start doing.
Okay. Are you excited about this? It's been a long time. I mean,
it's because of our schedules and because we have 2 guys that are in touring bands. And even though, yes, this is dormant now because Charlie's doing the Pantera thing, but my band just released a record. So I'm not dormant. I'm booked for almost the rest of this year. Right. So instead of getting all the songwriting done first, let's write 10 songs and then we'll go in the studio. I'm like, guys, I'm only here for a certain amount of time. So maybe we should just start picking away at this piecemeal. So we all agreed it would be a better idea just to go in, get the drums done for the songs that we know are complete and they're not going to change. And that way Brian can concentrate on those 5 right now. Because he's behind us, you know, he's in St. Louis while we're, you know, sitting in Massachusetts rehearsing. So he's got some work to do. But in the meantime, I go back out on the road next month. So I'll be gone for a month. Those guys will be writing and we'll progress further once I get back home. So, you know, we do the first 5 now. And like I said, we have 2 more. We have another song written and then we've got a whole bunch of riffs and shit. By the end of the year, we should probably have, I would think that we'd have 10 songs done, but who knows?
So it's safe to say that the only thing
we got shows
longer,
too, so
the only thing longer than Brian Fair's dreadlocks is going to be the space between Shadow Fall albums.
Probably. Yep.
But I'm sure fans are going to be fucking, geeked when this gets out there, though, man, because you know there is certainly going to be an anticipation. It has been a long time.
Well, we already kind of let the cat out of the bag at Metal Fest. You know, Brian said something on stage, and then as soon as we got home, it's like, oh, Shadows Fall is going to refer to material. Like, all right, here we go, Blabbermouth. But you know, we did say it. We said it live. So once it's said on stage and it goes out to the public, you know, it's fair game. So that's why it's no big deal. That's why we even like Instagram, like the last practice, like, all right, Zeus is here. We're in the house. We're going to do this. So here you go.
And what did you think about your time playing with, again, I think it was brief, man, but playing alongside a guy like George Lynch? You played with him, didn't you? Great guitar player.
Oh, God. The reason why I react like that, I'm not reacting to what you said. I agree with you. Yes, great guitar player. But this dude spent way too many hours in the fucking tanning bed. Holy shit. Yes, man. I did with him. I played with him at NAMM in, oh my God, I want to say it was 2007. Stu Ham got involved in this. Stu Ham and I, Stu, the great, amazing fucking bass player, played with Joe Satriani for years. Amongst millions of other people. Stu and I did a bass and drums clinic on the East Coast sometime in 2007. Like we did like, you know, I think 8 or 10 shows together. And it was great. We had a great time. It was just 2 of us in a van, drove up and down the Eastern Seaboard, fucking having a great time, playing music, drinking vodka. You know, we had a really fun time. So Stu called me up before NAMM the next year, and he goes, I'm doing this Washburn party where we're introducing the new line of Washburn acoustic guitars and basses. Now, mind you, the word here, the key word is acoustic. Acoustic guitars and basses. Okay. And he goes, and I gotta go jam. He goes, I gotta put a band together because I gotta jam with this guy, George Lynch. And that's how he says it to me. Because Stu has no clue who he is. He goes, do you know who this guy is? I'm like, fuck yeah. You know, and I'm on the other end of the phone, like elated. I'm like, yeah, Mr. Scary. This city plays like, I'm like, oh yeah, dude, he's amazing. I'm like, George Lynch was a docking with my favorite bands from the 80s. I'm like, yo, he's a shredder. And he's like, well, yeah, you want to do this thing with me and him? I'm like, fuck yeah. So Stu, he's like, it's be like 20-minute set or so. I'm like, all right, cool. So he tells me the songs we're gonna do. He's like, we're gonna do. There was a song that I did that's called Terminal Beach. It was the bass and drums thing that Stu wrote that we did on the tour. He goes, we'll do Terminal Beach. I'm like, okay, cool. And we'll just have George like play layers over or something. I'm like, all right, cool. Know that one. He goes, we're going to do Fire because George said he wanted to do that by Jimi Hendrix. I'm like, okay, cool. Got that one. And we were going to do Going to California too. And because Stu always did a version of Going to California by himself on bass, but we were going to do like close to the more the Zeppelin version of it. I'm like, all right, cool. He goes, and then we're going to play this song that George wants to do called Mr. Scary. I'm like, oh, fuck yeah. So like, I'm excited as fuck to play this gig, right? I'm like, this is going to be great. We're going to play with George. I'm like, fucking yeah. So I go over to whatever, you know, hotel it's at. It was either the Hilton or the Marriott, you know, one of the two. I don't remember what the fuck one I was at. And I go meet Stu early. We go grab a bite. and we go back for the sound check. So we go in, we got our shit together. We were already playing, we're already jamming out, and everything's cool. George finally comes strolling in like a fucking half hour late, first of all, with his tech. I'm like, the fuck do you need a tech for? So I'm strolling in with his tech, and he's sitting there for like a half an hour, just like with this frustration look on his face, and I can't get my tone like that. You're not gonna get your tone. It's not a fucking electric guitar. You fucking like. Oh, so we go through this sound check that is like pulling teeth. Like every fucking song, there's a problem, or he's complaining about whatever. Stu's looking at me. I'm like, I don't know, you know. So we finally get to the end, because we go through every tune that we're gonna play in front of all the people an hour from now. So we get to Mr. Scary, and he goes, I don't want to do it. Now, Stu has taken the time to chart out the fucking song on bass. He didn't learn it by listening to it like 40 times. He wrote the fucking song out.
Yeah, yeah.
So he's sitting there with the charts. He's ready to go. And George's like, oh, I don't want to play this. I go, oh, yeah, we're playing it. And that's what I said. I'm like, oh, we're going to play it, dude. So we get through it, and he goes at the end, and he goes, I really don't want to play this. And I'm like, whatever. So we leave, like, we'll see you in an hour and a half, like whatever time we were playing, come back and do the gig, right? So me and Stu go off, and once again, we go leave, and we go have a drink somewhere. And he goes, what are we going to do about Mr. Scary? I go, you're going to call it off, and I'm going to count it off, and we're going to play it. And if he doesn't join in, he's going to look stupid. And Stu goes, okay. So that's exactly what we did. We got to the end, because he even said it before, I don't want to play Mr. Scary. Okay, no problem. We just totally ignored him. And fucking, we got to the end, and fucking Stu goes, and now we're going to play a song that George is famous for. And I'm trying to just not laugh my fucking face off. And George like turned white, like, oh, what the fuck? Like,
you did the right thing.
He goes, and this one's called Mr. Scary. And we just looked over. Come on, bro. Dig it.
He has to dive in. He has to dive in, because that would go viral, and he'd be a huge dickhead.
So you can go and see this on YouTube right now. Jason Bittner, Stu Ham, George Lynch, Scary at NAMM. So let me tell you. Now I'll tell you the end of the story. So we're walking out. We're walking out of the gig, and Stu looks at me and he goes, man, I thought you said that guy was good, man. I was like, well, dude, he is. I mean, I don't want to be like him, but if he had his stuff, he had his electric stuff, he would have been great.
Yeah, he'd have put out a show, but that's probably not his. That's probably not his realm right there.
He was just so disappointed and so didn't want to be there, and you can tell he didn't want to be there, and that's why it wasn't fun. I was so excited about it, and he made it a shitty time. Yeah. And this is the icing on the cake. The next fucking day, he's standing in front of the Hilton smoking a cigarette, and I walk up to him and I tap him on the shoulder. I'm like, that was a great jam last night, George. Awesome. And he looked at me. He looked right fucking through me. I go, Jason Bittner, we jammed last night. Oh yeah, man. Hey, sorry, man. I'm like, what the? I walked away. I was like, yeah, too many days in the tanning bed. You are shot, bro.
I was just gonna say, this might be a good public service announcement for the effects of tanning beds. Right here.
That's all I'm gonna say. If you play with someone and you don't recognize them the next fucking day, come on, man.
Yeah. Obviously, this questions the safety merits of tanning beds. People should take a good, hard, close look at this, because if George Lynch can't remember you the next day, something's not right there. I don't know.
Maybe the steroids. I don't know. It could have been one
steroids, and I'm sure obviously hard partying during the heyday of the '80s. I mean, there's probably some trace effects of all that too.
Dokken didn't do any cocaine.
Not much.
They did all of the cocaine.
And I like what you said though, man, earlier. And again, not to impugn toxic, but you like to stay busy. You know what I mean? Like you're a guy who likes to be busy. Does that still, you're mentioning that like years ago when you were at the time you were in toxic, but how does that translate to now, current time? Do you still like the grueling schedule and touring in the nomadic lifestyle? You still enjoy that?
Let me tell you my year. Right this week, tracking new Shadows Fall. 2 weeks from now, go to Jersey, get the kit together down in Jersey, pack that up with my tech, get it ready to get in the bus to ship that off to LA or to San Francisco. July 12th, get on the plane. 3-week Overkill tour. Come home from that, 10 days off, go to Europe for a few festivals of Overkill. Come home from that, 1 week off, start tracking a record with my other band. September 9th, go to Blue Ridge with Overkill. September 16th, play Metal Fest with Shadows Fall. September 28th, leave for tour with Overkill.
Oh man, it's going to be a good year for you, Stuart.
The rest of my year is packed. I'm not complaining about it because I've spent the last 2 years sitting home not working at all. So
yeah, that sucks.
I'm very fortunate that I have some things on my plate right now. Yes, it's taken me having to do 2 bands in order to do that, but that's just what we have to do nowadays.
Yeah. I've also got written down here on my bullet points, and I'm trying to rack my brain as to think.
Let's also please not leave out one of the best bands I've ever played with that I just played with in January of this year, and that's Prong.
That's who I was just about to ask about. Prong, yes. And your experience with the Prong fellas.
Tommy Victor is one of my best friends. I love that guy, and Jason too. I love those dudes. I had such a great time playing in that band, and I'd still be doing their gigs right now if I physically could do it. I just can't split myself in two. And all the other stuff they had for this year is when I have shit already, which really sucked. Because I wanted to do that second leg of that Life of Agony tour so bad, but I'm like, I missed it by like 3 days. I'm like, I'm on the Lamb of God boat with Shadows Fall. I said, I can't dump that.
I know, it's like you want to be everywhere. It's hard.
Yeah, it is. But it was great. I love playing with those guys. We had such a great time on that tour, and just something about playing in a 3-piece too. Just a power trio.
Yeah, I think that's kind of cool too. I think that's really what sets Prong apart, is being able to get that big, thick, fucking heavy sound, and they are just a 3-piece. I think people forget that sometimes.
Yep.
Yeah, they're an amazing band. Another
it's all in
a band that,
guitar tone.
Another band that the East Coast could probably claim. Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely. They're a New York band. To this day, they're a New York band. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, it sounds like, man, you've got a lot of good shit planned, man. And I'll cut it short because I really appreciate the time, and I know you've been in the studio, and you looked whipped or drunk or high. I don't know, maybe all three.
No, it's whipped, 1 beer, and bedtime.
Yeah, but I appreciate you coming on here so much, man. I've been blessed. I've been blessed these last couple of days, man. I've been having some fucking fun guests. I don't know if you know. Earlier today, I got the chance to talk to another fellow New York drummer, Joe Cangelosi.
I know that name.
He was on the Creator album. He was on the Creator album, Cause for Conflict. We talked about that album a little bit. He's been in Whiplash. He's been in.
That's how I know the name. Yeah, Whiplash. Yep.
He's doing the Carnivore AD right now. Yeah, fun guys though, man. Us New Yorkers are fucking fun. We're a little rough around the edges, but we're fucking fun.
Yeah, we are.
And we make good fucking guys.
We're rough around the edges, though.
There's a reason. Yeah, but I appreciate you. I salute you, man. And this new Overkill album is great. And your playing is a lot of the reason why, brother. I appreciate you coming on here and taking the time, man. You had a long day in the studio. I appreciate it, brother.
Thanks a lot, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Stay in touch, and I'll send you the link when I put the episode up. Share it wherever you want, man. But stay in touch, and hopefully we can do it again. Yeah, hopefully we can do it again somewhere down the road, brother.
Yeah, absolutely, Mark. It was a good time.
Yeah. Talk to you later, Jason. Thank you so much, brother.
All right, brother.
Yeah, I'll talk to you later, brother. Thank you.
All right.
Night.
See ya.
Later. See ya. Folks, I bring you another legend. in his hotel room. So, hopefully you guys can overlook the little technical glitches here and there. It is what it is. This is the umbrella of life that we live under. That is technology. And we are at its beck and call. So occasionally we are going to get some technical glitches, but I mean, come on, great fucking talk with a fucking legend, Jason Bittner, straight out of New York. Another great New York fucking guest, another great New York fucking drummer. I love the fact that I made the connection of him, Bob Riley, who I recently had on, Stigmata, Troy Core representing. Shadows Fall, of fucking course. Big news right there, man, that they're going to be working on new Shadows Fall music, man. Fuck, it's been a minute. 2012. Done stints in Toxic, Flotsam and Jetsam. Prong, as he mentioned. His current day job is in a little thrash band called fucking Overkill that represent the East Coast as well. New Jersey's fucking finest, real life OGs, heroes of the thrash world, man. Fuck. Take nothing away from Overkill. Just put out album number 20, of which Jason plays on. Also played on 2017's The Wings of War. Another fucking great album, man. Jason Bittner has made Overkill a better band, in this one man's opinion. Very interesting songs on the new album. Check out the track Fever, where you really hear Overkill swinging and grooving in a way that you don't really hear Overkill do much. Very refreshing. Very cool to hear them. That was a fun fucking talk, man. Love Jason Bittner, man. Just had a long day in the studio, as you heard, trying to get drum tones for new Shadows Fall. That's good fucking news. And hopefully you guys enjoyed that, man, as much as I enjoyed chopping it up with Jason, man. And let me remind you guys out there that until we get together and do this thing again, to please take it easy and keep it sleazy.